CNBC put out this article titled, "Here's how much money it takes to be middle class in 20 major US cities," and the data that they have here is pretty interesting. Here's what it shows us. In the New York, and Jersey City area, the low end to be middle class is $56,000, and the high end of the middle class is $169,000. Meaning, if you make under $56,000, you're lower class financially, and over $169,000 is upper class financially. Now, I'm not going to go through all 20 cities, but I want to highlight a few major ones. If you go down to the Washington, Arlington area, $74,000 is how much you need to make a year to be on the low end of middle class. $221,000 is how much you need to make on the high end to be middle class. Miami, this one's interesting. $43,000 a year to be on the low end of middle class and $128,000 on the high end. San Francisco, look at this, $77,000 a year on the low end, $232,000 a year on the high end. And then I want to end with Seattle with $68,000 on the low end, $203,000 on the high end. Now, if we look broadly across the United States, what this article tells us is that if you make between $47,000 a year and $141,000 a year, you are considered middle class. And if you want to read the full article for yourself, I'll also link it for you down in the description. But what I want you to understand here is most of us are raised with a middle class mentality, where we're raised to be comfortable, we're raised to be okay, we're raised to be able to get by. But if you want to break out of the system, you got to stop thinking in terms of average. You got to stop thinking in terms of comfort, and you have to start thinking a little bit bigger. What we're seeing happen right now is the economy is changing and our workforce is changing. On one end, we're seeing slowdowns in our economy and we're seeing pain in the economy, which means businesses are going to have to find ways to cut costs. At the same time, you're seeing the workforce change. People want to be able to work from home. And so now if people can work from home and companies are trying to cut costs, this gives more fuel to companies to potentially find workers overseas where they can find similar labor, maybe a little bit lower quality, maybe even higher quality at a lower price. And then second, we have things like artificial intelligence coming in, which can do some of the work that humans can do for a fraction of the price. The workforce is changing, and if you don't adapt with the times, well, you end up being stuck in the system, because the reality is this economic system feeds off of the middle class. The middle class are the people that are making enough money where they don't qualify for government aid, and now you have to work hard, you're paying the highest taxes, and you're the one that's fueling the system. If you want to break out of the middle class rat race, then you have to stop doing what everybody else is doing. That means you have to change either what you do with the money that you're earning, or second, how you're getting the money. I was reading a book by an economist who was essentially saying that the government needs to print more money, that way they can stimulate the economy. I like to read books and learn from people who have very differing opinions. That way I can understand all different sides of the financial argument. But this economist was essentially saying that the government needs to print more money. That way they can hand this money out to poor people. And then they were talking about why they need to tax the rich. Because when rich people make more money, they are more likely to not spend this money and put it into the economy. Because when rich people make money, they're going to either save the money or they're going to invest that money, which doesn't stimulate the economy. Versus when you give money to the middle class or to poor people, they're much more likely to spend this money, which then stimulates the economy. Because when you have $10 in your hand and then you go to Chipotle, well, now Chipotle is making money, and now that money is flowing through the economic system, which stimulates the economy. Versus if you take that $10 and you put it in your pocket, it doesn't do anything. If you take that $10 and you put it into the stock market, it's not stimulating the economy. That's why this person was advocating that if you are working to stimulate the economy, you got to give money to the poor and give money to the middle class. There's only one problem with the argument. If you give more money to the middle class and you give more money to poor people and then they go out and spend all of it, well, then what happens? Now you have more money in the economic system because more money was printed and it was created and it was given to people who need it. You give this money to the middle class, you give this money to poor people, and now they have more money. And if they spend, let's just say the majority of it, now where does this money flow? Well, it's going to go to Chipotle. It's going to go to Walmart. It's going to go to Kroger. It's going to go to Amazon. It's going to go to Apple. Now these corporations make money, and who makes money then? Well, yeah, the workers continue to get their salary. Maybe they get a little raise, but then it's the investors. It's the people that own these corporations that get to reap the big rewards because now they have bigger profits. Why do they have bigger profits? There's more dollars in the economy. People have more ability to spend, and people spend more, which means now the owners of these companies make even more money. This is where now the first thing you have to understand is what are you doing with the money that you earn? Because most people, and this doesn't have to do with you being poor, rich, or middle class, this is a mindset. Most people earn money to spend it, while wealthy-minded people earn money to invest it. It's a completely different way of looking at money, because when you earn money to spend it, all you're thinking of is, man, if I can get a raise, I can buy a bigger home. If I can get a better job, I can drive a faster car. You're thinking of earning more money, that way you can have nicer things. Versus what people who want to aspire to become wealthy think is, man, if I can earn more money, I can buy more assets. I can buy another rental property. I can buy more investments in the stock market. I can invest in the business. I can fund more of my business ideas. See, it's a completely different way of looking at it, because now when you're earning money to buy things, what you're doing is you're making money and then you're spending money. But when you're thinking in terms of investing, now you're making money with the goal of making more money, and then you spend a little bit of it. But the goal here is to grow this. That way now, when you spend a little bit of it, this little bit is way more than how much you have the ability to spend here, because now you're working to earn money, which is buying you assets, which are making you even more money. So you create a wheel that's working to build you more wealth. This is why the first thing you have to work on is what you do with the money that you earn, and you have to create a system that your money is working to grow how much money you have. We have a very unique opportunity here in America that you don't really have anywhere else in the world. America is one of the few places, if not the only place in the world, where you have a system where anybody has the ability. If you have the ability to work hard, if you have the ability to learn, and if you have the ability to make financial sacrifices, you have the ability to make wealth no matter what skin color you are, no matter what background you come from, no matter what language you speak, no matter where your parents come from. The reason why so many immigrants from around the world, and I'm telling you from experience here, the reason why so many immigrants from around the world will literally sacrifice their life to come to this country is because this is one of the few places, if not the only place in the world, where you have an opportunity like that. You don't have these same opportunities other places. So now you really have to ask yourself, what are you earning money for? Are you earning money to buy a nice car, or are you earning money to build wealth? And I can tell you this, that when you come from a different country, when you come from a different world, and now you come here with nothing, you don't want to just go out and buy the nice things. You want to build a wealth because this is something that you have dreamt of your entire life. That's why you see so many immigrant families work their butt off, not have the nice things, but they work to build incredible wealth. And then they can start enjoying their life because they've built that wealth. This is where you want to understand how the system works, because if you can understand this, you change what you do with your money, then you can break out of the system, because now you're not just relying on your job for your income, you're working to build assets. And these assets can fund your lifestyle. What are these assets? Well, these assets can be things like investing your money in the stock market, whether it's individual stocks, ETFs, index funds, mutual funds. This could be things like physical real estate. This could be things like investing in startups. This could be things like investing in other businesses. This could be things like investing in your own businesses. An asset is something that you're buying for the purpose of making money. I'm not going to go too deep into that in this video. I have a bunch of other videos on my channel where I go over how to actually start investing. And we also have a free guide on investing your money, investing 101, starting to generate cash flow. And even if you don't have a lot of money, this guide will walk you through how you can start investing. This guide is completely free. So if you want to read my free ebook, my free guide on how to start investing and generating cash flow, you can read it for free by clicking the link down in the description below. The second thing, once you understand how to actually use your money, is how do you earn your money? Because now most of us think that the way that you earn your money is by working at a job. But that's just one way you can earn money. I mean, you can create a second job, you can create a side hustle, you can work to create your own income, you can work to build your own business. There's no limit to what you can do, but you have to get out of that comfort zone of thinking, well, I don't want to go and try something that I've never done before. What if I fail? What if I lose money? What if I make a mistake? What if I don't know what to do? What if something bad happens? What if I get sued? Listen. These are all risks, but you never know what's going to happen until you try. And if you just sit there thinking about it, I can guarantee nothing's going to happen. I want to be a little bit honest with you here, because when I first started to see success as an entrepreneur, this is a number of years ago now, I really went on this mission of saying that everybody should be an entrepreneur. I was telling all of my friends, I was telling all my family, I was talking about it on YouTube, I was talking about it everywhere, that everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. And I really was super passionate about this, because I realized that, wow, you can create your own income. And I started working with a few of my very close friends, and I got some of them to even quit their jobs and start working on businesses. And I said, hey, just come to my office, we'll work together, I'll help you, and let's just get this going, because I know you can succeed. And as we were going through this process, that was where I learned a very painful lesson, that not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody can handle the work. Not everybody can handle the risk. Not everybody can think creatively like an entrepreneur. It's not for everybody. But opportunities are there even if you're not getting the right income from your job. If you are not an entrepreneur, you got to be honest with yourself because not everybody can or should do it. If you cannot make the money that you see from your job, maybe you look for a new career. Maybe you look to get another certificate. Maybe you work to get a different degree. Maybe you look for something else where you can create another income. Or maybe you work to get a second job because now you figured out the system. You know that you need to make money to buy assets. These assets make you more money. How can you buy more assets? You need more money. How can you get more money? Well, if you can start a successful business, you can make way more money and then you can use that money to buy assets. But that's not going to work for everybody. If you can't do it through a business, maybe you can do it through a side hustle. If that's not for you, then maybe you do something like freelancing. You try to just offer extra services to other businesses. If that's not for you, maybe you work a second job. If that's not for you, maybe you work to earn more money from your job. Maybe you work harder, you work to get a raise, you work to get a bonus. If that's not for you, maybe you work to get a certificate or you work for a different career, that way you can earn more money. There's an infinite number of options out there. You just have to figure out now, how can you earn more money? And now, thanks to YouTube, there's an infinite number of educational resources out there that can help you do that too. You've probably heard people say that you need to invest your money to become wealthy or invest this money into yourself because that's going to give you the best return, but no one ever really explains what that means. But in this video, let me go over 5 different ways that you can put this money to work, not just by investing this money in other places, but actually using this money to make you wealthier. The first